G'day Reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy and welcome to Gallery Aquatica TV. This week we received our first shipment of the much anticipated Apex Trident. We've already sold the first unit to one of our favourite tanks, and today we're going to take you to the tank to have a look at this exciting piece of equipment. So here we are on site at Epic Tank number 4, aka Apex Reef. Now before we have a look at the Trident in operation, let's just have a quick look at the fish and corals and just remember how good this tank is. Since we were here filming for Epic Tank number 4, there's been a few additions in this tank. So first of all, there's an Achilles tang, and it's a really nice little Achilles. He's just here. He's mixing in really well with the other tangs in this tank. We've got a powder blue, a blue tang, there's a lipstick tang as well, and they're all really healthy, well conditioned, no white spot or velvet, and there's a UV sterilizer keeping that at bay. But the fish are going great. There's a school of Disparanthius as well. The corals are sensational also, and you will probably remember the last time we filmed here, we really featured these two big trackies. And they're probably two of the best trackies we've ever sold at Gallery Aquatica. The polyp extension is incredible. The mix of color of these two colonies is just awesome. So they're really my favorite corals, probably the favorite corals we've ever sold. The euphyllias are great also. We've got some nice big hammers, a nice mix of colors. There's some really nice torch corals, and just a few SBS up in the top half of the tank. The Dallas colony, of course. A nice pink bird's nest, but all the corals are looking really good. The fish are healthy and happy, so it's a very successful ecosystem. Let's have a look at the filtration system and the Apex and everything that is creating this healthy ecosystem. Check it out. So it's a fully customized Hamali acrylic sump. It's a beautiful, beautiful sump with the black and red trim. And the water drains in at the right hand side through our plumbing, which is actually hidden in the cupboard, through the filter socks, into the section where this big Deltec skimmer runs, and through a refugium which has recently been harvested back, so there's not a lot of keto in there at the moment, but typically is absolutely chockers. And this Kessel H380, I think it is, really gives incredible keto growth. From the refugium, the water moves into the return pump section, and we've got a Ecotech Vectra L1, which feeds the water back up into the tank. So this is the heart of the filtration, but it's really the next cupboard across where things get really interesting. So here we are in what is almost the furthest most left cupboard, and it's an absolute thing of beauty. First of all, you can see we've got dosing vessels. These acrylic vessels fed by the John Guest into the doses, which we'll look at in a sec, feed the supplements into the sump. But the color-coded John Guest tubing is beautiful, and you can see at the back the way it's just so perfectly lined up. It's an absolutely beautiful setup. The UV sterilizer sort of stands out to me as well, and the RO filter system, which is a fully automated system for topping up the tank with RO water. But the most exciting thing, we have our Apex Trident. So we're going to have a bit of a look at how the Trident works, but before we do, we'll check out the furthest most left cupboard, because that's where the rest of the Apex equipment sits. So this is my second favorite part of the whole system. We've got our Apex beautifully laid out. The tablet, which is the control of the whole system, is right at the top. Very easy to control the different modules. Now we're going to have a closer look at this when we look at the Trident and how it integrates in the system. We've got our other Apex modules, we've got the brain, We've also got some Ecotech controllers. So the return pump, that Vectra L1, can be controlled here manually. We've also got 2 wave makers, 2 Ecotech MP40s, Reef Link, and here are all of the doses. As we mentioned before, each is beautifully color coded, and so it's really easy to see where things are, what they're doing, and how they feed into the sump. So now it's time for us to have a closer look at the Apex Trident. So here we are down with the Apex Trident, and it's been positioned here because it's actually a good spot in terms of the proximity to the water, because this unit actually has to draw a sample of water, and in this case it's coming from the sump. It draws a sample into the unit so it can test calcium, KH and mag, and that then allows for precise control to dial those levels in, keeping them as consistent as possible. Now if you open up the unit, you'll actually see the reagents, and we sell a pack of reagents which will last 2 months, so this is 2 months worth here, and the reagents, the calcium, KH and magnesium, are in these bottles here. I'll just close this up again, and when the tests have been performed, the reagents, the spent reagents, are actually deposited through this little white tube into a waste vessel. In this case, we're using a 1.25 litre drink bottle. So this system allows for very simple monitoring and adjustment of your calcium, KH and mag. Let's have a look at how this system interfaces with the rest of the Apex. So looking at the Apex Fusion app on our tablet here, you can see that the Trident is represented in this top middle section, and at the moment we have a reading of ALK at 8.1, calcium at 459, magnesium at 1563. And from here you can actually click on this and see the levels of each of these tracked over time. You can then click in to any one of these and see a more detailed graph of the tracking. Now you can see there was a drop in, what is this, calcium? There was a drop at this period here. And so this is when we did a water change, and it brought it right down after that water change. So we'll just go back to the dash, and we can also look at other things such as the amount of reagents that have been used. So far we've used 50% of the ALK reagent and 66 of both the calcium and magnesium. And we can also see how full our waste vessel is. So at the moment, that 1.25 litre drink bottle is at 50% capacity. This will allow us to make sure that we don't ever overflow that bottle, creating a mess in the sump area. So that's pretty much it for the Apex Trident and the app and how you use it. So for the first unit of the Apex Trident that we've sold, it's great to see it in operation, and it's great to see we now have a system to control carefully the calcium, KH and magnesium levels of a reef tank. It's such an important element. The stability of these levels is critical for the health of these corals in our reef tanks. So we'll bring you back to Apex Reef in the future. We'll show you how the Apex Trident performs over a longer period of time, and we'll show you more of this amazing reef tank. So that's our episode of Gallery Aquatica TV for today. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing.
That's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you've subscribed to our channel so you don't miss an episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!